What's up guys, welcome to another Just Your Average custom on the Just Your Average Nerd channel. The last video I posted, I showed you guys how to make some unmasked Power Ranger Funko Pops. And a lot of people have been asking me for the Green Ranger Funko Pop. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you guys how to make the unmasked Green Ranger Tommy Funko Pop. So let's get started. So for this custom, we're actually going to need 3 pops. I got all 3 of these guys on Amazon.com for fairly cheap, since they're all still common. First and foremost, we're going to need the Green Ranger pop, of course. We got Chris Weidman from the UFC line, and Dan from the Street Fighter line. So here's a closer look at these guys for you. For Chris Weidman, we're going to be using his head as Tommy's head. Then of course we're going to be using the Green Ranger body as Tommy's body. And then for Dan, we're actually only going to be using the back of his head, the ponytail part, to work as Tommy's signature ponytail. So if you watched my first video, you should be pretty familiar with how to remove the heads from the Funko Pops. But in case you're lame and you didn't watch it, this is what we're basically doing. I got this mug full of water and nuked it in the microwave for about 3 minutes. Then I soaked the pop's head in the water for about 1 minute. I'm going to go ahead and just use my super cool super speed powers to fast forward through this boring part. Now the plastic on the pop should be fairly soft by now and easy to remove. What we're going to do is we're going to find the piece on the head where the glue is the softest and rip it from there. The rest should be pretty easy to come off. Oh, sorry about that, Chris. So now that we removed the Green Ranger's head from the body, we're going to do the same thing with the Chris Weidman pop. And I'm going to go ahead and use my super speed one more time. So sometimes when removing the heads from pops, what can happen is the peg on the neck can just fully come off and the circle part on the pop will stay in place. This is totally fine and still workable. What I'm going to do now is just going to go ahead and remove the circle part from the Green Ranger body and just pop Chris Weidman's head into the Green Ranger body. What I normally would have done was remove Chris Weidman's head from the circular base and then remove that circular part off of the body and then attach that to the Green Ranger body. So this actually saves us some time. Now onto the Dan pop. Remember, all we need Dan for is for his ponytail. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and stick the back of Dan's head where his ponytail is back into that hot water we were using. What this will do is it'll soften up the rubber so it'll make it easier for us to cut later. Now we're going to go ahead and use an X-Acto knife to cut off Dan's ponytail. Kids, make sure if you're trying this at home that you go ahead and ask your parents for their help for this part. Looks kind of gross, but there it is. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take that X-Acto knife and cut off the end of the ponytail to flatten it out a bit to make it a little easier to put onto the Funko Pop head. Now to put the ponytail onto the pop head. What I'm going to be using today is a Tamiya brand epoxy putty. Now you definitely have the option to just super glue the ponytail onto the head if you'd like, but I like using this stuff because it helps me mold the piece on without having any cracks showing in between the pieces. The epoxy putty, which you can actually find online on Amazon, is going to come in 2 pieces, a white piece and a green piece. We're not going to need a lot of this stuff, so we're just going to carefully cut off a tiny piece of the green and then a tiny piece of the white. And we're going to mold both pieces together until they become one. Make sure to keep a cup of cold water handy because this stuff can get really sticky. Your end product should look like a light gray color. What I like about this epoxy putty is that it doesn't dry right away, so it actually gives you time to mold the piece the way you like. Once you've applied the putty onto the ponytail and molded it to your desired form, go ahead and press it firmly onto the head of the pop. Once the ponytail is attached to the head of the pop, feel free to mold it some more to make it look the way that you want it to. Now we're going to let it dry for about 1 to 2 hours. Once the epoxy putty is dry, we're going to hit it with a coat of acrylic paint and sealer, both of which you can find at your local hobby stores. Now this is the last time I'm going to hit you with my super speed powers. And there you have it, the Unmasked Green Ranger Funko Pop. Mr. Jason David Frank himself, Tommy Oliver. And here he is side by side with the rest of our unmasked custom Power Ranger Pops. And if green's not your color, feel free to do this with the White Ranger Action Pose Funko Pop that just came out. I hope you guys had fun making these. I'd love to see your creations, so feel free to tag them to me on Instagram at JustUrAvgNerd, or even check me out on JustUrAvgNerd.com. Until next time, see ya nerds.